Hi, this is Ron. I'm in Bryce Canyon today. I went to the park yesterday and I need to spend another day here, but it's really cold and I'm not going back up to the park. It's essentially a down day for me, so I'm going to take this opportunity to show you in detail my packing and organizing setup for this particular trip. It's a 3-week trip and this is how I pack. First, I'm going to start with my clothing. So I put everything in packing cubes and I organize it by my base layer, underwear, leggings, things to keep me warm when I'm riding. My t-shirts and tops, again, all Smart Wool stuff, all in their separate cube. I use these hiking pants, these thin hiking pants. They don't take up a lot of room. I usually bring, I think I brought 4 pairs with me. And socks. Socks, I bring maybe about 6 or 7 pairs with me. This is what it looks like, all zipped up and ready to go. I put this in a dry bag that will end up on the top of one of my cases. This is the dry bag that I am using. 30-liter dry bag, it fits in there nice and tidy. This dry bag with my clothing is set to go onto the bike. Next, I bring with me a pair of riding jeans. These happen to be Climbs. And I use these jeans when I'm at a place more than one day and I need to stay local. I don't want to put on my full suit, so I put these things on. And I also bring a second pair of jeans, Levi's, which I'm wearing at the moment. And jeans take up a lot of room, unlike those hiking pants that I showed you, and they need their own separate bag. Again, I put this into a 30-liter dry bag. Next, footwear. I have 2 pairs of riding boots and 1 pair of just walking around shoes. So depending on the day, sometimes I use these Climb boots, sometimes I use these Daytona boots. It depends on the leg of the trip that I'm on. If I'm going to be getting on and off of the bike a lot, I use these. If it's a point A to point B interstate, I use these. These I wear when I get to my destination and I just walk around. Shoes take up a lot of room, so here's what I do. When I'm riding, obviously I'm not wearing these, so these go into a dry bag. So my walking shoes easily fit into the same dry bag as my jeans. There's plenty of room. This is a 30-liter dry bag. If I happen to be wearing my Daytonas that particular day for riding, instead I put these. These are big. Shoes take up a lot of room. Boots. So if I am not wearing these on my ride, instead I put them in here. And there's the riding boots. They, again, easily fit in there. And then my walking shoes will go, and I'll show you this later, will go into one of my top cases where I have room. There's the dry bag all set up to go onto the bike with the Climb riding boots, all packed up, ready to go on the bike. If I'm wearing those on a trip, you're probably wondering, well, then what do you do with these? They're huge. I lash these to the top of the dry bags outside. I will show you that later. Okay, here's my clothes that are like ready to be laundered. I put these in a different color packing cube. You can see I have laundry to do, so the amount of clothing that I bring comfortably gives me between 7 to 10 days without having to go to a laundromat. At about 7 to 10 days, I hit a town and I do laundry, and it's easy for me just to pull out the blue ones. These go into a dry bag that will go inside the case. Okay, there's my to-do laundry in the dry bag. This dry bag goes inside one of my cases, and it happens to be the case on the side of the exhaust. It's the smaller case. I think it's a 35-liter. This fits in comfortably. I cannot get into the cases easily when things are packed up, and I'll show you that later. So I put things into the cases that I am not going to need on the ride. But if I don't need to access it when I am riding, I put them in the cases because they're hard to open up and access. There's so much stuff. I'll show you that later. Here is the laundry dry bag, all ready to go into its case. Next, electronics. So as you know, I'm vlogging this particular trip, and so I need to bring cameras. I have an Insta360 and batteries and the charger and the GoPro and the batteries and the charger in this case. The GoPro would fit here, but I'm using it right now. I have a little bag that has various cables and memory cards, etc. in there, and I have to bring my laptop to do my editing, and it's in a little case. Here's all the electronic stuff packed up and ready to go into its dry bag. So everything comfortably fits into the larger dry bag that will go into the left side case, which is away from the exhaust. It's on the opposite side, so it's not going to get hot from the exhaust. And again, since I am not going to be accessing any of this stuff while I'm riding, it's in the case because A, that's where the room is, and B, I don't need to access it and it's hard to get. That's where this stuff belongs. Here's the bag with all the electronic goodies in it, ready to go into its case. For things that I may need to access during a ride, I put into the top case. What are those things? Well, if I want to change my gloves from heavier gloves to lighter gloves, that's a good candidate. Additional bungee cord and rock straps. This could actually go in one of the lower panniers, but I put it in my top case. This is in case my battery goes dead or I need to charge up my electronics. I don't have anything. I'm not in a hotel. I can use this as a battery pack. Sun hat, you know, I'm pulling over and I'm going to walk on a trail for a little bit. It's hot. I could put a cap on. I could just boom, boom, get it right out of the top case, etc. Those sorts of things. All that stuff comfortably fits into the top case dry bag, and there's room for more. So sometimes, you know, I have those energy bars, snacks, kind bars, whatever they call them. I won't put them in the dry bag. I will put the dry bag in here, and it will leave room around it to put things like the hat on top. I have a cap I put in here, etc. So these are things that during the ride I may want to access. I could also, if I pull over and I want to take the GPS off, I could just put the GPS in here, no problem. On top of the top case, I have this Moscow Moto dry bag that I put layers in there. So if I need to pull over, it's getting really cold, I could just pull over, open up this dry bag, and pull out this jacket. This is one of these down jackets from Climb. It just comes out of its own little self-containing pocket. And I put it on, close this up again, and I'm on the move. I also have like maybe another, you know, top shirt in there just in case I want more warmth, and another bottom. So things that I might need to access while I'm riding clothes-wise, you know. So if it gets too hot, I do the opposite. I take it off and put it in here. Easy. These are the side cases. This is the one that goes on the side of the exhaust, and this is the one that goes on the side of the drive shaft. I have BMW as a drive shaft, a GSA. On this one, I can put my white gas fuel for my camping stove and some water while I'm riding. I get thirsty, I pull over, I just pull this out. On the exhaust side case, I have additional water. I have 1 gallon of water in one of these canteens, cactus canteens from Giant Loop. There's some weight to that. That's why it's low. Keep the weight low. I have some additional tools, the big tool kit. And quite honestly, you know, I don't know, I've never had to use it, but it's good to have around just in case. And another, might be optional item, I have some oil with me. If you would know if you need oil, because you should be watching your oil level, and for some reason you need it, should have plenty of time to get to a town and get some oil. I just have some with me just in case I have the room. So this is heavier stuff, so this goes at the bottom. You want to keep the weight low. This is the exhaust side case with my laundry bag on this side ready to be closed up. This is the exhaust case closed up, ready to be put onto the bike. I use these rock straps on top is because clothing dry bag is going to eventually go on top like so. I'll show you that when I do the final pack up onto the bike. This is the drive shaft side case with the electronics bag in it, and as you can see there's still some room to put if I need to put something on top. Now it's all closed up and ready to go, and again rock straps because I'm going to be putting a dry bag on top of there too. Okay, let's talk about camping gear. Camping gear needs to be together. There's days I don't camp. I camp some days, and I'm in motels the other days. When I'm in the motels, I don't want anything to do with camping gear, so that goes into its own separate dry bag. But what is my camping gear? I have a tent right here. This is one of these big Agnes bicycle tents. I'll post the model number of it. It's hard to pack up, but you can do it. It condenses down pretty well for bicycles. And this is the footprint for it. I haven't fully packed it again because it's hard to get into the bag. I'll deal with that later. I have a sleeping quilt. Let me open that up. There we go. This is a down 20-degree quilt, not a sleeping bag. It's a quilt that was made by Enlightened Equipment in Minnesota. They have off-the-shelf quilts and bespoke. This was a custom-made one for my dimensions. And it's down and it compresses really good. Let me put it back into the bag. There we go. It's back in the bag. This is a pillow that you blow up. I'm not going to pull it out. I don't really like this thing. I'm going to get something else. Some sort of travel pillow. You take it out, you blow it up, and it's not very comfortable. And this is a camping chair, one of these. I'll put the model number. It's a big Agnes. Easy to set up, easy to break down. I'm actually really happy with this. And then finally some camp kitchen stuff. This is good enough for one person. I got knife and fork and one of these MSR cups. MSR the company, I'll post where that's at. And all you really need to do is boil water, you know, that for coffee, this when I'm making freeze-dried food. And this just folds up like so. And then it just packs up into this little bag. Okay, there's my camp stove. Everybody should know about these. This is a white gas stove from MSR. I think they call it the Whisper. You can run white gas, of course, but you could also run kerosene. I'm not sure about diesel. I think you can actually. I have to look at the instructions. Or even unleaded gas. You have to change the jet to do that, but I haven't needed to do that. I just use white gas, of course. I'm in the U.S. White gas is readily available. I prefer these vastly over those little propane canisters that you buy because I don't have to buy propane canisters. I just get my bottle, which I showed you earlier, and just fill that up with white gas every time. What could be simpler? This thing, I've had this thing for over 20 years, and it has worked fine. And that just goes into its own little bag. Then I have a light. This is really kind of neat. So I put all this camp kitchen stuff into this dry sack. In addition, I have a few other things in there like garbage bags and, tea bags, foodstuffs like that, non-perishable foodstuffs. So all that stuff just fit into this dry sack. This is all my camping gear right here. I want it together. And here is my camping equipment dry bag. Again, it's a giant loop. I don't know the model number, but it's a 50 liter. Opens up on both ends. Actually, I like this. I have a Moscow Moto, by the way, as well. But for the same size, This fits more than the Moscow Moto. The Moscow Moto, in my opinion, is overkill. They make high-end stuff, but for my purposes, it's overkill. This dry bag works perfect for me, and it actually can put more stuff into it. So I'm going to put all my camping gear in here. So there we go. It's all in there, and let me close it up now. And there we go. It's all packed up. All my camping stuff is in that one bag. Everything. So when I go camping, I just, need to pull everything out. I know what's all there. When I'm in a motel, I don't touch it. Just leave it as is. And finally, for camping, you need a pad to lay on. And a lot of people have switched over to using these cots that have aircraft aluminum. You assemble them. And I'm considering switching to that as well. But one thing, and I should talk about this in a separate video, I use a quilt. And a quilt only covers the top part of your body. This insulates you from the ground and it keeps me perfectly warm. If I switch to a cot with aircraft aluminum tubing and I use a quilt, I am going to get cold because I won't have any insulation. I would still have to bring this. So I'm bringing double stuff. I'm bringing a cot and this. If you are using a traditional sleeping bag, then you can certainly use a cot. And I am considering switching to a traditional sleeping bag for that purpose only. But since I'm only camping 3 nights, not a lot, I'm going to stick with this. This works well. It's actually pretty comfortable once it's in, it inflates by itself and then you blow a little bit more air into it. And it does insulate from the ground. This works fine. And I'm going to roll it up right now and show you what I do with it. Okay, so there's my pad rolled up. And I am then going to put it into this dry bag. And I will do that now. And there is the pad, the sleeping pad in its own dry bag. This will lash on top of the camping dry bag, and that fits on the passenger seat. And I'm going to show you that in just a bit. And right now, I think I've covered it all. And so what I'm going to do now is show you how I put all the stuff on the bike itself. On the bike itself, I have this permanently mounted tool case that is fitted with the OEM key. One key for all locks on the bike. Inside, I have a air compressor, some bare minimal tools, and a tire patch kit. So that's always on the bike. It fits neatly into that tool case. I also use this Moscow Moto handlebar bag. You could put a tire pressure gauge in there, your phone, a charging cable, any passes that you may need to access quickly. It has a section to put glasses, shades. I have my regular glasses in there. And it even has a place where if you temporarily need to put your key as you're futzing around with the bike, you don't want to put it on the seat and maybe drop it, you could put it in this little slot that is available. It also has this Velcro area to the left that I used for my GoPro remote. All I did was glue some Velcro on it, and it sticks to the handlebar bag really well. I have 2 Lone Wolf 6-liter dry bags, one for a first aid kit, and the other for windshield cleaning, toilet paper just in case, and I use this stuff to spray onto the seat so I don't slip around. Okay, time to pack up. The first thing I do is I put on the rock straps for the camping dry bag. Next, I put on the top case. Next go the 2 side cases. Then I put on the camping equipment dry bag, and I need to strap it on initially loosely so I could move it back and forth to make room to put on the dry bags I will fit on the top cases. Then I put on the dry bags on the top cases, and I also strap those initially on loosely so I can then go ahead and position all 3 bags so they'll be balanced. Once I do that, then I could start tightening all the bags up And here I'll start tightening up the camping bag, strap that one down, and then I'll go to the top case bags and do the same. And finally, I start tightening up all the loose ends, tying them around where I can. And the final step is I put the sleeping pad and its dry bag on top of the camping equipment dry bag. I'm done. If I happen to be using the climb boots instead of the Daytonas, I strap the Daytonas on top of the dry bags like I show on this one. That's it. I'm done.